The fluorescent lights of Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City hummed their familiar tune as Travis Kelce stepped through the automatic doors. His Kansas City Chiefs cap pulled low over his eyes. It was a Tuesday afternoon in November, and he had just finished practice when his phone buzzed with a call that would change everything. "Mr. Kelce, this is Dr. Rebecca Morris from the Pediatric Oncology," the voice had said, professional yet tinged with sadness. "We have a young patient here, 12-year-old Emmeline Cartwright, who has been battling leukemia for 2 years. She is in her final days, and her last wish is to meet you." Travis had received many such requests over his NFL career. The Make-A-Wish Foundation regularly contacted him, and he always made time for these visits. But something in Dr. Morrison's voice was different this time, more urgent, more desperate. "Of course," he had replied without hesitation. "When can I come? Would today be possible?" She may not have much time left. Now, walking through the sterile corridors decorated with colorful murals meant to brighten the spirits of sick children, Travis felt the familiar weight of responsibility's shoulder. These visits were never easy, but they were important, more important than any touchdown or championship ring. Nurse Patricia Fleming, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and graying hair, met him at the elevator on the 7th floor. She had been working in pediatric oncology for 23 years, and Travis could see the accumulated weight of countless goodbyes in her expression. "Thank you for coming so quickly," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Emmeline has been talking about nothing but the Chiefs all week, even though she can barely speak above a whisper now. Your visit means everything to her family." As they walked down the hallway, Travis noticed the unusual quietness of this particular wing. Even the other children seemed to sense that something sacred was happening here. Room 237 was at the end of the corridor, and through the partially open door, he could hear the soft beeping of medical equipment. Her parents, Jonathan and Sarah Cartwright, are from a small town called Peculiar, about 30 minutes south of here, Nurse Fleming explained as they approached. They have been living in the hospital for the past month. Emmeline has been in and out of consciousness, but when she is awake, she asks about you constantly. She has your jersey, your trading cards, even a poster of you on the wall. Travis took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. He had done this dozens of times, but it never got easier. Each child was someone's entire world, someone's miracle, someone's heart walking around outside their body. "Is there anything specific I should know about her condition?" he asked. Dr. Morrison appeared beside them, a tall woman with auburn hair and tired eyes. "She has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. We have tried everything: chemotherapy, radiation, even an experimental treatment. Her white blood cell count is critically low, and her body is shutting down. We are keeping her as comfortable as possible, but realistically, she has perhaps hours, maybe a day at most." The weight of those words settled in Travis's chest like a stone. Hours. This little girl had hours left to live, and somehow meeting him was important enough to be her final wish. "Her parents are incredibly strong people," Dr. Morrison continued. "They have been preparing for this moment for weeks now, but Emmeline has been fighting to stay conscious. We believe she has been waiting for you." Travis nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. Children often held on for specific moments, specific people, specific closures before they felt ready to let go. They paused outside room 237. Through the glass window, Travis could see a small figure in the hospital bed, surrounded by Chiefs memorabilia. Red and gold balloons floated near the ceiling, and a miniature Chiefs helmet sat on the bedside table. Her parents sat on either side of the bed, holding her tiny hand. "Take all the time you need," Nurse Fleming said softly. "There is no rush. Sometimes these moments are about more than just meeting a celebrity. Sometimes they are about connection, about hope, about love transcending circumstance." Travis pulled off his cap and ran his fingers through his hair. He was used to performing in front of 80,000 screaming fans, but this felt more intimidating than any playoff game. This was not about football or fame, statistics. This was about being present for a little girl in her most vulnerable moment. He knocked gently on the doorframe. "Hello, may I come in?" The reaction was immediate. Jonathan Cartwright, a man in his early 40s with weathered hands and work clothes, stood up quickly, his eyes filling with tears. Sarah Cartwright, a petite woman with blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, gasped and pressed her hand to her mouth. "Oh my goodness," Sarah whispered. "Emmeline, sweetie, look who is here." The little girl in the bed slowly opened her eyes. Travis felt his breath catch in his throat. Despite the illness, despite the pallor, the obvious weight loss, Emmeline's eyes were bright and alert. They were the deepest brown he had ever seen, and they seemed to look right through him. "Travis Kelce," she whispered, and her voice was like wind through autumn leaves, soft and precious. "Hey there, superstar," Travis said, approaching the bed with a gentle smile. "I heard you are the biggest Chiefs fan in all of Kansas City. Is that true?" Emmeline tried to smile, and the effort it took was heartbreaking. "I watch every game," she managed to say. "Even when I was getting chemo, Mama would bring the iPad so I would not miss anything." Travis felt his throat tighten. This little girl had been fighting for her life, while still making time to cheer for his team. The dedication was humbling. "Well then, you are definitely my kind of fan," he said, pulling a chair closer to her bed. "I brought you something special." He reached into his bag and pulled out his game-worn jersey from their recent victory against the Denver Broncos. It still had grass stain and the authentic smell of football. Emmeline's eyes widened as much as her weakened state would allow. "This is the jersey I wore when we beat the Broncos last week," Travis explained. "I caught 2 touchdown passes in this jersey, and now I want you to have it." Sarah Cartwright began to cry quietly. Jonathan placed a protective hand on his daughter's shoulder. His own eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Can I hug you?" Emmeline asked, her voice barely audible. "Of course you can, sweetheart," Travis replied, leaning forward carefully. As he wrapped his arms gently around the fragile little girl, something extraordinary happened. The moment their embrace connected, Emmeline pulled him closer with surprising strength and whispered directly into his ear. "Your twin brother Tyler says hello." Travis froze. The words hit him like a physical blow, and he felt the world tilt on its axis. Tyler, his twin brother Tyler, who had died at birth 34 years ago. Tyler, whose existence his mother had shared with him only once, when he was 7 years old, during a moment of grief on Tyler's birthday. Tyler, whose name he had never spoken aloud to another human being, not even to his closest friends or teammates. How could this dying little girl possibly know about Tyler? Travis pulled back slowly, staring into Emmeline's eyes with a mixture of shock and confusion. She was looking at him with an expression far too wise for her 12 years, as if she could see something that others could not. "How do you know that name?" he whispered, his voice shaking. Emmeline smiled the saddest, most beautiful smile he had ever seen. "He is here with me," she said simply. "He has been waiting to tell you something important." The silence in room 237 was deafening. Travis felt as if all the oxygen had been sucked out of the space, leaving him gasping for understanding. Jonathan and Sarah Cartwright looked confused, clearly not comprehending the significance of what their daughter had just said. But they could see the profound impact it was having on their hero. "Emmeline," Sarah said gently, "Sweetie, what are you talking about? Who is Tyler?" But Travis could not take his eyes off the little girl. Her brown eyes seemed to hold depths that no 12-year-old should possess, and there was a serenity about her that felt otherworldly. "Tyler is his brother," Emmeline explained to her parents, never breaking eye contact with Travis. "His twin brother who went to heaven before Travis was born. Tyler has been with me for a while now, helping me not be scared." Dr. Morrison, who had been standing quietly in the doorway, stepped forward with professional concern. "Mr. Kelce, are you all right? You look very pale." Travis could not speak. His mind was reeling, trying to process what was happening. Tyler had been born first, 3 minutes before Travis, but his umbilical cord had been wrapped around his neck. He had lived for only 17 minutes before his tiny heart stopped beating. Their mother, Donna Kelce, had held both babies during those precious moments, whispering to Tyler that his brother would live for both of them. It was a family tragedy that had shaped his mother's entire approach to parenting. She had poured all her love and dreams for 2 children into Travis and his older brother Jason. But Tyler's name was sacred, mentioned only in private moments of remembrance, never discussed with outsiders. "How is this possible?" Travis finally managed to whisper. Emmeline reached out with her small, pale hand and touched his cheek. Her skin was cool, but her touch felt electric. "Tyler says you have been carrying his sadness your whole life, but you were not supposed to. He says you were meant to live joyfully, not just for yourself, but to show him what life could be like." Tears began to flow down Travis's face, and he did not try to stop them. "I do not understand what is happening here," Sometimes, Emmeline said, her voice gaining strength, when people like me are getting ready to go to heaven, we can see things that other people cannot see. Tyler has been my friend here in the hospital. He told me all about you, about how you always felt like something was missing, how you sometimes get sad for no reason, how you work so hard because you feel like you have to prove you are enough for two people. Every word she spoke hit Travis like a revelation. It was true, all of it. He had always felt an inexplicable emptiness, a sense that he was incomplete. His relentless drive on the football field, his need to be the best, his fear of disappointing people, it all suddenly made sense. Jonathan Cartwright moved closer to his daughter, concerned. Emmy, honey, you are using a lot of energy. Maybe you should rest. No, Daddy, Emmeline said firmly. This is important. Tyler has a message for Travis, and I promised I would give it to him. She turned back to Travis, and her eyes seemed to shine with an inner light. Tyler wants you to know that he is not sad. He has never been sad. He says dying as a baby was not a tragedy for him because he got to go straight to heaven and watch over you. He has been there for every touchdown, every victory, every moment of your life. He is proud of you, but he wants you to stop carrying the weight of living for two people. Travis felt as if his chest was being cracked open. Emotions he had buried for decades came flooding to the surface. But I always felt like I had to be extra good, extra successful, extra everything, because he never got the chance. That is not what he wants, Emmeline said, squeezing his hand with surprising strength. Tyler says your mother needs to hear this too. She has been carrying guilt about his death for 34 years, blaming herself for things that were never her fault. He wants both of you to know that his purpose was different. His purpose was to make sure you knew from the very beginning how precious life is. Dr. Morrison quietly approached the bed, checking Emmeline's monitors. The little girl's heart rate was elevated but steady. Her oxygen levels were holding. It was as if the conversation was giving her energy rather than depleting it. There is more, Emmeline continued, her voice taking on an urgent quality. Tyler says there is something you can do for him, something that will help both of you. What? Travis asked immediately. Anything. Emmeline looked toward the window, as if she was seeing something the adults could not see, then back to Travis. Tyler says there are other children here in this hospital. Children who are scared and alone like I was before he came to be with me. He wants you to help them not afraid, but not just with visits like today. Something bigger. Sarah Cartwright had been listening with growing amazement. Emmy, how do you know all these things? Tyler tells me, she said simply. He says Travis has a gift for bringing joy to people, and that gift is supposed to be used for more than just football. He wants Travis to create a place where sick children can feel hope and happiness, where families do not have to worry about money while their babies are fighting to live. Travis felt a surge of understanding wash over him. It was as if puzzle pieces that had been scattered his entire life were suddenly clicking into place. A foundation, he whispered. You are talking about starting a foundation. Emmeline nodded eagerly. Tyler says, if you do this, if you help other children the way he wishes he could have helped me sooner, then you will finally understand why you were born to live for both of them. Not because you have to carry his burden, because you get to carry his love. The room fell silent except for the steady beeping of the medical equipment. Travis felt transformed, as if he had been carrying a heavy weight his entire life, and someone had just lifted it from his shoulder. But Emmy, he said gently, what about you? Tyler is helping you not be scared. But what happens next? Emmeline's smile was radiant, despite her physical condition. Tyler says, I get to help him now. I get to help him watch over other children who are sick, scared. We are going to be a team, him and me, helping from heaven while you help here on earth. Jonathan Cartwright wiped tears from his eyes. Our little girl has always been special, but this is beyond anything we could have imagined. Tyler wants to tell you one more thing, Emmeline said, her voice beginning to fade slightly. He says to tell your mama that she gave him the most beautiful 17 minutes of existence anyone could ask for, and he has been grateful every day since then. He says the reason you are so good at bringing people together, so good at making teams work, is because you learned from the very beginning that every minute with the people you love is a gift. Travis broke down completely, sobbing with a release that felt like 34 years of grief pouring out of his soul. Sarah Cartwright reached over and rubbed his back, this mother comforting a grown man who was finally understanding his own story. Mr. Kelce, Dr. Morrison said softly, I have been working in pediatric oncology for 15 years, and I have never witnessed anything like this. Whether you believe it is spiritual communication or the profound intuition of a dying child, what Emmeline has shared with you is extraordinary. Travis looked up, his eyes red but clear. I believe her. I believe every word. Emmeline was beginning to look tired, but there was a peacefulness about her that had not been there when he first arrived. Tyler says he has to go now, but he will be back to get me soon. And he wants you to know that when you start helping other children, he will be helping too, in ways you might not always see. Emmy, Travis said, taking her hand again, thank you for giving me this gift. Thank you for letting Tyler talk to me through you. He says you are welcome, she whispered, and he says he loves you, big brother. The words, big brother, hit Travis like lightning. Tyler had been born first, making Travis technically the younger twin, but somehow, Tyler calling him Big Brother felt perfect and right. As if summoned by some invisible signal, Nurse Fleming appeared in the doorway. I am sorry to interrupt, but visiting hours are ending soon. Travis looked at Emmeline, who was beginning to close her eyes. Will you be okay? She nodded sleepily. Tyler is here. I am not scared anymore. But as Travis prepared to leave, he realized that his own transformation was just beginning, and the most challenging part of this journey was still ahead. Travis left the hospital in a daze, his mind reeling from the encounter with Emmeline. He sat in his car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at his phone, trying to process what had just happened. Finally, he dialed the number he knew by heart. Hey, baby. His mother Donna's voice came through the speaker, warm and familiar. How was practice today? Mom, Travis said, his voice shaking, I need to ask you about Tyler. The silence on the other end of the line was immediate and profound. Donna Kelce had not heard her deceased son's name spoken aloud in over 15 years. Travis, honey, what brought that up? Mom, I need you to sit down. Something incredible just happened, and I need to tell you everything. For the next 30 minutes, Travis recounted every detail of his visit with Emmeline. He told his mother about the little girl knowing Tyler's name, about the messages she claimed to be receiving, about the profound sense of completion he had felt. Donna was quiet for a long time after he finished. When she finally spoke, her voice was thick with tears. Travis, there are things I never told you about the day you boys were born. Things I thought would be too painful to share. What things, Mom? Tyler was born at 3:17 a.m. You came at 3:20. For those 17 minutes, I held both of my sons. Tyler was so small, so perfect. The doctors worked frantically, but his little heart had been deprived of oxygen for too long during the birth. But Travis, in those 17 minutes, something magical happened. Travis pulled over to the side of the road, needing to focus completely on his mother's words. What happened, Mom? Tyler opened his eyes and looked right at you. You were crying, like all newborns do. But the moment Tyler looked, you stopped crying and turned toward him. It was as if you two were communicating without words. The nurse commented on it, said she had never seen anything like it. Twin babies recognizing each other so immediately. Travis felt chills run down his spine. Mom, why did you never tell me this? Because when Tyler passed, I was devastated. I blamed myself for years. Your father and I went to counseling. We prayed. We tried everything to deal with the grief. But you were such a joyful baby, Travis. Even as an infant, you had this light about you, this ability to make everyone around you smile. I convinced myself that Tyler had somehow given you his share of happiness before he left. Mom, I need to come see you tonight. There is more we need to talk about. Travis, are you sure that little girl actually said these things? It seems impossible. Mom, she knew his name. She knew details about how I feel that I have never told anyone. She knew about the sadness I carry that I do not even understand myself. This was real. Donna was quiet again. Okay, baby, come home. We will talk about everything. Travis drove to his childhood home in Cleveland Heights, a modest neighborhood where he had learned to play football in the backyard. His mother was waiting on the front porch when he arrived, and the moment he saw her, they both began crying. I am so sorry, Travis, Donna said, embracing her son. I am sorry I never talked about Tyler more. I thought I was protecting you from sadness, but maybe I was just protecting myself. They sat at the kitchen table where Travis had eaten thousands of meals growing up, surrounded by family photos that included several small memorials to Tyler, a tiny handprint, a hospital bracelet, a single photograph of Donna holding both babies. Tell me everything you remember about that day, Travis said. Donna took a deep breath. The pregnancy was difficult. You boys were born 6 weeks early. Tyler's umbilical cord had wrapped around his neck sometime during labor. When he was born, he was not breathing immediately, but they got him breathing quickly. For those precious minutes, he seemed okay. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small box Travis had never seen before. "I have kept these all these years," she said, opening the box. Inside were Tyler's tiny hospital bracelet, a lock of his hair, the outfit he never got to wear home, and a letter. "What is the letter?" Travis asked. "I wrote it to Tyler on your first birthday. I was struggling with survivor's guilt, wondering why you lived, and he did not. Wondering if I had done something wrong during the pregnancy. Your father suggested I write down my feeling." Travis opened the letter carefully. His mother's handwriting from 33 years ago was shaky with emotion. "My sweet Tyler, today, Travis took his first steps. He is walking and laughing and bringing so much joy to our house, but I cannot stop thinking about you. I wonder what your first steps would have looked like. I wonder if you would have laughed the same way he does. I wonder if you two would have been best friends or competitive brothers. I feel guilty for being happy when you are not here to share it. I do not know how to honor your memory while still celebrating Travis's life. Please help me know what to do." Travis felt his heart breaking for his mother. "Mom, you have been carrying this guilt for over 30 years. The counselor told us that survivor's guilt is common with twin loss, but knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally are different things entirely. What if Emmeline was right? What if Tyler has been trying to tell us that we do not need to carry this sadness?" Donna wiped her eyes. "Travis, I want to believe that, but how can we be sure?" Travis thought about Emmeline's words, about the peace he had felt when she delivered Tyler's messages. "Mom, what if we went back to the hospital tomorrow? What if you met Emmeline yourself? Is she well enough for visitors? I do not know. Let me call Dr. Morrison." Travis dialed the number Dr. Morrison had given him. She answered on the second ring. "Dr. Morrison, this is Travis Kelce. How is Emmeline doing?" "Mr. Kelce, she has been asking for you. Her condition has stabilized somewhat since your visit. It is almost as if talking with you gave her renewed strength. We are cautiously optimistic that she may have a few more days than we originally thought." "Dr. Morrison, this might sound strange, but would it be possible for my mother to visit Emmeline tomorrow? There are some things that happened during my visit today that my mother needs to hear directly from Emmeline." "Of course. Emmeline specifically asked if she could meet your family. She said Tyler had more messages to share." Travis felt a chill of anticipation. "She said that?" "Yes. And Mr. Kelce, there is something else. After you left today, Emmeline asked us to contact someone specific. She gave us a name and said this person needed to come to the hospital immediately." "Who?" "A woman named Margaret Hensley. Emmeline said she is Tyler's godmother, though that is impossible since Tyler passed away as an infant. But she was very insistent, so we looked up the name. Margaret Hensley lives here in Kansas City, and when we called her, she became very emotional and said she would come first thing in the morning." Travis felt the world tilt again. "Dr. Morrison, did you say Margaret Hensley?" "Yes. Do you know her?" Travis looked at his mother, whose face had gone completely white. "Mom, who is Margaret Hensley?" Donna Kelce sat down heavily in her chair. "Margaret Hensley was my best friend in college. She was going to be Tyler's godmother if he had lived. But Travis, I have not spoken to Margaret in 34 years. We lost touch after Tyler's funeral. How could that little girl possibly know about Margaret?" Travis felt his pulse racing. "Dr. Morrison, what time is Margaret coming to the hospital?" "She asked to be there at 9 a.m. She sounded very shaken by our call, but determined to come." "We will be there too," Travis said. "My mother and I will be there at 9 a.m. After he hung up, Travis and his mother sat in stunned silence. "Travis," Donna finally said, "Margaret was the only person outside of family who held Tyler before he passed. She was in the delivery room because I wanted her there as his godmother. She prayed over him. She blessed him. She promised him that he would never be forgotten." "What happened between you two? Why did you lose touch?" Donna's face crumpled. "After Tyler's funeral, I could not handle being around anyone who reminded me of him. Margaret tried to stay in touch, tried to help us grieve, but I pushed her away. I pushed everyone away except your father and Jason and you. I regret it now, But at the time, I thought isolating myself was the only way to survive the pain. Travis reached across the table and took his mother's hand. Mom, what if this is Tyler's way of healing all the broken pieces? What if Emmeline is here to help us put our family back together? Travis, if that little girl is really communicating with Tyler, if this is really happening, what does it mean? What is Tyler trying to accomplish? Travis thought about Emmeline's word, about Tyler's message regarding the foundation, about the sense of purpose that had filled him during their conversation. I think Tyler wants us to understand that his life, even though it was only 17 minutes, had meaning and purpose. I think he wants us to stop seeing his death as a tragedy and start seeing it as the beginning of something beautiful. What do you mean? Mom? What if Tyler's purpose was never to live a full life on Earth, but to teach us about love and loss and healing? What if his job was to watch over our family and guide us toward helping other people who are struggling with the same things we have struggled with? Donna considered this, tears flowing freely. You mean the foundation that Emmeline mentioned? Exactly. What if Tyler has been preparing us, our whole lives, for this moment? What if meeting Emmeline is just the beginning? As if in response to his words, Travis's phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. Mr. Kelce, this is Margaret Hensley. Dr. Morrison gave me your number. I have been waiting 34 years for this phone call. I have so much to tell you and your mother about Tyler. See you tomorrow. Tyler's godmother, Margaret. Mother and son looked at each other with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Travis, Donna whispered, I think our lives are about to change forever. Sim, entendi perfeitamente. Capítulo 4, 900 palavras. Capítulo 5, 900 palavras. Idioma, inglês. Manter contexto e coerência da história. Enviar pelo chat. Não artifact. Vou refazer agora os 2 capítulos com exatamente 900 palavras cada um. The next morning arrived with an unusual warmth for November in Kansas City. Travis and his mother arrived at Children's Mercy Hospital at 8:45 a.m., both nervous about what lay ahead. In the waiting area sat a woman in her mid-60s, clutching a small photo and a worn leather journal. Margaret Hensley looked up as they approached, and the recognition was immediate. Despite 34 years of separation, the connection between the two women was undeniable. Donna, Margaret said, rising slowly, tears flowing. Oh, Donna, I have missed you so much. The women embraced, and Travis watched decades of separation melt away instantly. Both were sobbing, holding each other as if afraid the other might disappear. Margaret, I am so sorry, Donna whispered. I am sorry I pushed you away, never returned your calls, never answered your letters. I was drowning in grief. Donna, I understood then, and I understand now. Losing Tyler broke all of us differently. I never stopped praying for your family. Travis cleared his throat gently. I am Travis. I think we need to hear what you know about Tyler before we see Emmeline. Margaret studied Travis's face intently. You look exactly like your father, but you have Tyler's eyes. I would know those eyes anywhere. You remember Tyler's eyes? Travis, I held your brother for 11 of his 17 minutes. I looked into his eyes, prayed over him, made him promise. I have never forgotten a single detail. They sat down, and Margaret opened her leather journal. I have been keeping a journal about Tyler for 34 years. After he passed, I felt this overwhelming need to document everything I remembered, everything I believed about his purpose. His purpose? Donna asked. Donna, do you remember what happened right before Tyler passed? Tyler turned his head toward Travis. Even though newborns cannot focus clearly, Tyler looked directly at you, Travis, and then he smiled. Travis felt his breath catch. Babies that young do not smile intentionally. That is what the medical staff said. But Travis, I was watching. Tyler smiled at you. Then his little hand opened and closed like he was waving goodbye. You stopped crying at that exact moment and reached toward Tyler. Margaret turned to a specific page and began reading. November 15th, 1989. Tyler Michael Kelce was born at 3:17 a.m. and passed at 3:34 a.m. In his 17 minutes, he was held by his mother, father, and godmother. He opened his eyes twice, once at his mother, once at his twin brother. In that second look, I witnessed a soul connect. Tyler was saying goodbye, but also making a promise. What kind of promise? Travis asked. Tyler was promising to watch over, to guide you, to make sure you understood your life was precious beyond measure. I wrote that Tyler's purpose was to be your guardian angel. Donna was crying quietly. Margaret, I never knew you felt that. Donna, there is more. Over the years, I have had dreams about Tyler. He talks to me, tells me about Travis, about his football career, about the joy he brings people. Tyler has been showing me his 17 minutes were just the beginning. Travis felt chill. What has he told you about me? Margaret flipped through pages. He told me you would become a professional athlete. He told me you would be known for bringing people together, for caring about others. He told me you would have a gift for making children happy. And he told me someday, when ready, he would communicate direct with you through Emmeline, Travis whispered. Yesterday, when the hospital called about a dying girl who knew Tyler's name, I knew the time had come. I have been waiting 34 years. Dr. Morrison appeared. Emmeline is awake and asking for all of you. She says Tyler told her you would come together. When they entered room 237, Emmeline's face lit up with joy. Despite her condition, she seemed more alert and peaceful. Mrs. Kelce, Emmeline said to Donna, Tyler says thank you for giving him the most beautiful 17 minutes anyone could ask for. He says you were the perfect mama. Donna broke down, taking Emmeline's hand. Sweetheart, how do you know these things? Tyler is right here, Emmeline said, gesturing beside her bed. He has been waiting for Mrs. Margaret to come back. He missed her. Margaret moved to the bedside, and when she saw Emmeline clearly, she gasped. Donna, look at her eyes. Travis and his mother looked closely at Emmeline's eyes, and suddenly they saw it. The same deep brown eyes Tyler had opened 34 years ago. Tyler says Mrs. Margaret has been his special helper all these years, Emmeline continued. Her dreams were real, her journal was inspired by him, and her prayers have been protecting Travis' whole life. Margaret sat heavily. Emmeline, what does Tyler want us to do now? Emmeline closed her eyes, listening to something only she could hear. When she opened them, they were filled with urgency. Tyler says Mrs. Margaret has been keeping a secret, something she wrote but never told anyone. He says now is the time to share it. Margaret clutched her journal tighter. Emmeline, I do not know what you mean. Tyler says to look at page 47. Mrs. Donna needs to hear what you wrote there. With trembling hands, Margaret found page 47. This page was different. Urgent handwriting, tear stain. This entry is from Tyler's first birthday, November 15th, 1990. That night, something extraordinary happened. Margaret looked around the room. Tyler appeared to me, not in a dream, but in my living room. I was awake, coherent, and Tyler was there, clear as any of them. That is impossible, Dr. Morrison said softly. Tyler was there, looking as I imagined he would at 1 year old. He could speak, and he had a message for his family when the time was right. Emmeline nodded encouragingly. Tell them what Tyler said. Margaret began reading, voice shaking. Tyler told me his physical death was not the end, but the beginning of his real work. He said he chose 17 minutes of earthly life because his soul's purpose was different. He came specifically to love his family unconditionally, then return to heaven to guide. Travis felt his knees weaken. He chose to die. Tyler said souls make agreements before birth about what they will accomplish. Some come for full lives, others for shorter periods to teach specific lessons about love, loss, and purpose. Tyler's soul agreed to come just long enough to establish the soul connection with his twin and plant seeds of compassion in his family's heart. The revelation hit Travis like lightning. Everything, his drive, his emptiness, his need to achieve, suddenly made perfect sense. Tyler had not been taken from him. Tyler had given himself for him. 6 months later, Travis Kelce stood on the stage of the newly constructed Tyler Kelce Foundation headquarters, looking out at 500 people gathered for the grand opening. The building was a testament to purpose meeting passion, designed specifically to bring comfort and healing to children and families facing medical crises. Emmeline Cartwright sat in the front row, her blonde hair growing back in soft curls after months of successful treatment. Her recent scans showed no trace of cancer, and doctors called her recovery the most remarkable they had witnessed. She wore a Kansas City Chiefs jersey with Kelce 87 and had not stopped smiling since arriving. 6 months ago, I thought success was measured in touchdowns and championships, Travis began. Today, I want to tell you about a different kind of success. the kind that comes from understanding why we are really here. In the audience, Donna Kelce sat beside Margaret Hensley, their friendship restored and stronger than ever. Margaret had moved to Kansas City to become the foundation's director of spiritual care. Donna had taken early retirement to become family liaison coordinator. This foundation exists because of a little boy who lived 17 minutes, but whose love has been growing for 34 years, Travis continued. Tyler Kelce never threw a football, but he accomplished something far more important. He taught us that every life has immeasurable value, that love transcends physical existence, and that purpose can be fulfilled in unexpected ways. The audience included families already helped by the foundation in its first 6 months. The Tyler Kelce Foundation had established family housing near 3 major children's hospitals, provided financial assistance to over 200 families, and created healing gardens at 5 medical facilities. But this foundation also exists because of brave Emmeline Cartwright, who served as Tyler's messenger and chose to stay and fight so she could continue his work here on Earth. Travis gestured for Emmeline to join him. She walked up confidently, no longer the pale, weak child from the hospital room. She was healthy, vibrant, determined to become a doctor. Emmeline, tell everyone what Tyler said about the foundation's future. Emmeline took the microphone with remarkable poise. Tyler says the foundation will help thousands of children and families. Every time we help someone, it is like his 17 minutes keep expanding and touching more people. That is how love works. It never gets smaller, only bigger. The crowd erupted in applause, but Emmeline held up her hand. Tyler also says, there are other children like me, children who can see between heaven and earth, who have important messages to share. The foundation will help those children too, by believing them when they say they can see angels. Tyler says grown-ups sometimes forget that children can see things they cannot. This was news to Travis, but it felt absolutely right. The foundation would provide not only practical help, but also space, spiritual and emotional healing. Tyler has one more message, Emmeline said, her voice taking on that otherworldly quality. He says, look around this room and see all the people here, because one little boy chose to love completely in 17 minutes. This proves no life is too short to make a difference, and no act of love is too small to change the world. As Emmeline returned to her seat, Travis outlined the foundation's initiatives. Tyler's House Family Lodging Program near 20 major children's hospitals, the Angel Fund for medical bills and expenses, healing gardens at medical facilities, Tyler's Team Therapy Animal, and the newest addition, the Messenger Children's Program for children reporting spiritual experiences during treatment. We will partner with medical schools to establish the Tyler Kelce Memorial Scholarship for pediatric oncology students. Our first recipient is already chosen, Emmeline Cartwright, who will receive full funding for her medical education. Dr. Morrison stood to address the crowd. What I witnessed 6 months ago in room 237 changed my understanding of healing. Science explains many things, but cannot explain the love and connection that brought Travis and Emmeline together. This foundation represents the marriage of medical expertise and spiritual healing. Margaret approached the podium with her journal. I want to read one final entry, written last night after Tyler visited me in a dream. She opened to the last page. Tyler came with the biggest smile I have ever seen. He said his work on Earth is complete, but also just beginning. The foundation will touch millions of lives. Travis finally understands he was never meant to carry the burden of living for 2 people, but the joy of sharing love from 2 hearts. Tyler said Emmeline will become a doctor and develop new treatment, saving thousands of lives. She carries healing in her hands because she chose to stay and fight. Most importantly, Tyler said love is the only thing that matters, the only thing that lasts, and the only thing that can heal what seems broken. As Margaret finished, every child in the audience began smiling simultaneously, as if seeing something adults could not. Emmeline stood and pointed beside the podium. Tyler is here with all the other children who have gone to heaven, and they are so happy about the foundation. They want everyone to know they are not gone, just helping from a different place. The ceremony concluded with unveiling a bronze statue depicting 2 children, one visible, one in shadow, reaching for each other. The plaque read, Tyler Michael Kelce, November 15th, 1989, November 15th, 1989. 17 minutes that changed eternity. Love is the only thing that matters, the only thing that lasts, and the only thing that can heal what seems broken. As families toured the facilities, Travis walked with Emmeline, watching children laugh in spaces created for their comfort. "Do you think Tyler is proud?" Travis asked. Tyler says this is exactly what he dreamed of during his 17 minutes. "Every time a scared child feels safe here, every time a worried parent finds help, it is like his heart beating again." Travis felt profound completion, as if a lifelong puzzle had finally been solved. Tyler's 17 minutes had expanded into something infinite, and every moment of comfort provided to a frightened child was a continuation of Tyler's original act of love. The Tyler Kelce Foundation would help 50,000 families in its first decade, but more than that, it would stand as proof that love transcends death. And sometimes the shortest lives cast the longest shadows. Tyler Michael Kelce had kept his promise. In 17 minutes, he had planted seeds of love that would bloom for generations.